Greetings, this is TimeRider. Happy Sunday everyone, and I surely hope all of my fellow Americans had a happy 4th of July. I actually did absolutely nothing worthy of note. No picnics, no fireworks, nothing. I just hung out with the dog and had a nice relaxing day. Today I have a rather uncomplicated project in the form of a restoration of the Matchbox number 56B Fiat 1500. The actual car was produced from 1961 to 1967 by the Italian company and could be purchased in a saloon, coupe, cabriolet, and station wagon model. There were variants produced in other European countries, such as Yugoslavia, as well as South America. Lesney produced their toy from 1965 to 1968, and they were painted sea green, which tends to look more like a dark turquoise, until the last production year when they released some red versions as well. The grille and headlights are always painted and sometimes the front bumper, but never the back. As is pretty typical, mine was missing the luggage rack, which I purchased from a source on eBay. This will be a straight up restoration, so stick around. The model isn't in too bad a shape. One thing really odd is it has a plastic base, which is unusual for the time, and the tow hook's kind of messed up. Largely, the paint's just really chipped up, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape. The casting was held together by one mushroomed over post and a tab on the base that went into the front bumper. You know, a lot of guys recently have done this casting that I've seen, and I kind of late to the game on mine. I had already sourced out the luggage on the top when I decided to do it, and I figured in spite of the fact that so many others had done it, I'd do it anyway. But anyway, once you get that plastic bottom off, you kind of have to be careful, of course, because you don't want to crack it. Had your typical interior with the Lesney suspension and a window piece that was held in by kind of a split rivet, a split mushroomed over post or rivet, whatever you want to call it. So again, you know, I'm trying to be very careful because I don't want to crack it, nor do I want to drill through the hood of the car, or the roof of the car rather. And once I got it apart, well, there you have it. As usual, I'm paying some attention to the burr that I left when I drilled out that post. I want the car to go back together as easily as possible. Once I had the post in a condition that I was happy with, it was time to drill out the center of it with a 1/16 inch drill bit. And of course I follow that up with a drop of oil, and then I'm going to tap the hole. And once again, I know a lot of people use self-tapping screws. I do too. But I just prefer tapping the hole. Gets the material. It's such a small hole. You know, if you use the screw as a self-tapper, I think that you're more likely to strip it or blow the post out. By running a tap through it, it takes out the excess material. And then, you know, when it comes time, you get to just screw that button screw in, easy peasy. And now it's time for a little bit of a bath in my aircraft stripper, which is starting to take on colors. Give it a little shake for luck. So, not at all unlike the Muir Hill dumper, the styling on the Fiat 1500 wasn't particularly sophisticated. So cleaning the casting was really easy. Incidentally, the 1500 is it denotes the engine size. They, I believe, also made either a 1200 or a 1300. I looked, I just don't remember right off the top of my head. And then, of course, after the wire wheel, I hit it with some 4/0 steel wool and give the casting a good cleaning. I did the primer on this with the Duplicolor Automotive Primer. I put a very light coat, and then I mixed up my sea green, which really what I mixed was dark turquoise. Blue, green, yellow, and white. Probably more white than anything, and just using the other colors to tint. I put on a tack coat, and then a bit heavier coat, and successively heavier coats. I don't know if I'm right on here, but I'm pretty doggone close. The last coat of this, it went on so well, and it had such a nice natural shine to it. I decided not to clear coat it at all. So that's kind of unusual for me. I guess I could go back and do like a semi-gloss clear coat, but I won't. I didn't see any evidence in the casting beforehand that would have indicated the bumper was painted. So I decided I was just going to do the grille and the headlights. And once that had dried, I cleaned the window really good, and I fixed that hook, the tow hook, with a little bit of super glue and translucent red paint. I thought I recorded it, but apparently I didn't, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. And then, of course, I have that luggage rack sitting there that I had sourced out from eBay. I guess it's not the rack, it's the actual luggage, but... So let's get back to where we started, kind of a chipped up model. This it reminds me a lot of that MG 1100, the casting. It's roughly the same scale and about the same level of difficulty. The biggest thing, I think, when you're doing these types of castings is you have to get your paint right, because any flaws are going to show up. And not that my paint is always perfect, but that's what I shoot for when I'm doing these, simpler castings. That being said, there will be a short episode of The Bench after this is done, but I guess without further ado, let's take a look at where I wound up. Thought the windows turned out pretty good. I didn't do anything to the base. It's plastic. There really isn't much you can do. I suppose a person could paint it, but why? All I did was clean it. I didn't do anything with the hubs. I thought they looked just fine the way they were. Call it patina. But there you have it. The Matchbox 56B Fiat 1500. This is TimeRider, and I'll leave the light on for you. So thanks for hanging around for this edition of The Bench. The first thing that I want to do is assure all of you lorry lovers out there that I haven't forgotten about you, and in fact, this 17C, I think it is nearly done, and we should see a video on that, I'm hoping, this week. So I know that my 2-minute Tootsies aren't the most popular thing that I do, but the biggest question I get asked is why I don't take the tires off. And the Tootsie tires are held in by these two, they're like retainers that are bent into place. And I've tried taking them apart, and in 100% of the circumstances they break. And you can't really grind them off like a Matchbox because Tootsie used real steel for this. I mean, I don't think that they were put on the same way the Matchbox were. Both ends have this pointed, almost arrowhead-like affair. And I think what they do, or what they did, was when the tires were newer and softer, they either lubricated them or something, and they pushed them on. And once they got past the wide part, they were stuck on. So anyway, that's why I don't take the tires off of the Tootsies. Well, and then last but not least, I am working on my race car for the Three Blind Mice cooperative build. I'm guessing we're probably gonna do our release in about a week. And what I did here is I've laid down a nice base coat of silver because I'm going to be doing some, hopefully, fantastic paint work on it. But anyway, that's what I got going on at the moment, along with tons of yard work and trying to work on my shed and other things related to my recent move. But anyway, this is TimeRider. I hope everybody has a great week. And either subscribe or tell your friends as you choose. If you don't like it, click the little thumb down. I don't get too offended by that. And everybody have a great week.